Hi, I'm Brian. Welcome back to another On the Road video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Stop! Before beginning any repair, always be sure to disconnect the power to the appliance. It is also recommended to test the outlet for proper voltage. Remember to also turn off the water. Okay, today we're looking at a Whirlpool Cabrio washer, and the complaint is it will not go through the cycle. It will not even really start through the beginning of the cycle. So what we're gonna do here is go ahead and start it up, and we'll go ahead and put it into a drain and spin and start it here and see what happens. Okay, so we heard the motor hum there, but nothing moved. This washer will turn the motor on to rotate the basket for sensing purposes, and then at that point, after sensing, it'll start filling with some water and going through. Okay, drain pump's running. Tried to start the motor again. Just hummed, nothing moved, and now our lid lock is flashing at us, letting us know we have an error code. So what we'll do now is cancel the cycle out, and our lid lock is still flashing at us. Turn the unit back on. We're gonna go into diagnostic mode, which is gonna be left, right, 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 left, right. And all these green lights are blinking, letting us know we're in the diagnostic mode. We go one click to the right to turn on the done, and we'll press start. And now we're in our error code mode, and they're flashing. We'll turn it to the right one more time, and this will give us our first stored error code in the system, which is going to be sensing, soak, rinse, spin, done, and then done. So we're gonna look at the text sheet here and see what that error code is. All right, so the soak is not going to be part of the error code. It's going to be sensing, rinse, spin, done, done. Because on the text sheet, it doesn't list a soak light for the error codes. So sensing, rinse, spin, done, done is going to be a basket speed sensor fault, which is an F7E1. It says this fault is displayed when the main control board cannot determine the speed of the basket or the speed changes too quickly. Check for a locked rotor, that the basket, impeller, and motor can spin, rotate freely. Check the harness connections from the main motor to the motor and shifter. See test 3A drive system and shifter. So we'll just open up the lid here. Actually, we still have the lock on. Well, first thing we'll do is go to the next error code by just moving one to the right, and there is nothing else stored in the system. So we just have the one error code. And if we get back to the beginning here with all the lights flashing in the error code mode, and press and hold the start pause button for 3 seconds or until it beeps there. That is going to erase all of our stored error codes. We'll go ahead and shut it off now. And then to be able to open the lid, it might go off eventually, but we're gonna unplug it to reset it here. With it unplugged, you can still see that the light blinked for a couple seconds there until it drained out. We want to just press and hold the button here for 5 seconds or so to drain any electricity out of the board that it might be storing, to give it a good hard reset. We'll plug it back in. Okay, so it took a couple seconds, came on, unlocked the lid. We can open this now and just check here, and you can see our basket is spinning freely. One thing I do notice when I'm spinning this is we get a bearing noise. So you can hear the bearings are bad in the gear case on this model as well, or on this unit as well. It should be nice and quiet when it spins. even just me manually spinning it, you can hear those bearings grinding. So definitely need a gear case for this. And then we got to figure out why that motor was just humming as well. Okay, so what we found, we tipped the washer back, look underneath there, and the actual capacitor came loose off the gear case where it mounts and fell on the floor, and it disconnecting the wire harness. So that's why our motor was not getting enough power from the capacitor, because it was disconnected to be able to start, and that's what we were just getting the humming sound from, which then threw our error code. So what we're going to need to do for this repair is replace that capacitor because the bracket on it's broken, and then replace the gear case as well to take care of the bearing noise. The tools needed for this repair are a Phillips screwdriver, a small and large flat blade screwdriver, 1/4 inch and 5/16 nut driver, a crescent wrench, a pair of channel lock pliers. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do to replace the transmission or the gear case is remove the basket. And to remove the basket, we need to remove our impeller. So we're going to use a small flat blade screwdriver and pry this cap off the impeller. Like that. There's actually a little notch here where you can get your screwdriver underneath it and pry it off. And then this is going to be a 7/16 bolt that holds the impeller in place. So I got a 7/16 socket incorporated on my drill. And now we can lift the impeller off and out. All right, and then there is a clip down here that holds the basket hub assembly onto the gear case shaft. So we're going to use a large flat blade screwdriver and pry that clip off of there. Next, we're going to need to remove 2 1/4 inch screws out of the back of the machine here. It holds the lid assembly to the cabinet. All right, so now we can grab on here to the lid or the top of this washer and slide it forward and then lift up and slide it back a little bit, and it will release itself from these tabs, and you can lift it up here. Okay, next we can remove our tub ring, and there's just gonna be clips that go all the way around. Take a small flat head and pry out on the ring off the tabs. All right, so now we should be able to pull our basket straight off the gear case shaft. Now we're done up top for the time being. We're gonna need to bring this lid back down, and the rest of it will be working underneath the washer. Okay, so here's our gear case that we're gonna need to replace. The motor, capacitor, shifter, everything mounts to it. I'm gonna remove it as one assembly versus taking everything off of it first. So what we need to do is remove our wiring from everything. We'll do the drain pump over here first, just this cover that snaps off, and then push it on the tab and release the harness from the drain pump. Remove the wire from the clip on the side, and then we can we'll come over, let's see, there's little tabs that hold all the wires together and then snap up into the transmission, so we'll pull this one off over here like that. And then the shifter here, the tabs are on the back side of this harness. There's 2, one on each end, so we'll depress that and release it. And then there's another restraint that holds the wires together and snaps up in right here. Pull that down and out. And the only thing left should be our motor harness over here, which actually with this style motor cover, we're going to need to remove it to be able to get to that harness. So that's going to be a 5/16. All right, so there's two 5/16 screws, one on each side that hold this on. And that comes down. Now we can remove our motor harness over here, pushing on the tab. All right, and then this had been temporarily zip tied around the capacitor here to hold it in place, so we're going to remove the zip ties. So now all of our wiring we can tuck over to the side and get it out of the way. All right. All right, so now we can remove the bolts holding the gear case in place and drop it down. The drain pump, it's a really close, really tight fit, but you can get the gear case off without taking the drain pump off. Or if you're afraid you're gonna damage the drain pump, it'd be a good idea to remove it. You're gonna have to get a towel or something to catch the water that would come out of there. All right. So our gear case bolts are 10 millimeter. So I have a 10 millimeter socket incorporated with the drill. Now this will come down and we'll tip it just right to clear the drain pump. All right, the tub seal stayed up in the tub here, so we're just gonna pull that down and out. The new gear case comes with a tub seal on it, and it'll sit on the shaft just like this, so when you push in the gear case, the tub seal will go right in where it's supposed to go. All right, so we got the old gear case here and the new one here, and we just have to transfer everything over from the old to the new. So the first thing we'll do is remove the pulley nut here. I got my channel locks on the other side of the transmission or the gear case shaft, holding it in place while I remove the nut on this side. All right, and then we can slide that off in our belt. All right, next thing we'll do is our motor. There's two bolts that hold the motor in place, and it's going to be a 1/2 inch socket. Now we can take our motor out of the old one, place it in the new one. All right, next thing we can do is remove our shifter. It's 2 Phillips screws that holds that in place. transfer that over here. And we just have our cam. We just have our cam assembly left here. There's gonna be 4 tabs that hold it into the gear case. So we're just gonna press in on those. All right, and that will come out with the spring. Transfer that over here. And then we just have to get our shifter engaged into the loop here of the cam. Snap that in. All right. We can reinstall our pulley and belt. And then pulley nut. And these pulley nuts require thread lock or thread sealant, Loctite. So we're gonna put a couple drops on the threads of the nut here. All right, so now we're gonna install our new capacitor to replace the broken one. And it's just gonna go, there's a little cross on the cross tab here that goes into this square hole. We'll put it in like that and then snap or twist it over this way to lock it in place, just like that. And now we're ready to install the new gear case into the tub. All right, so the new tub seal comes on the gear case here. So we're just gonna place our gear case into the tub. Make sure it's seated up there good, that the top of the gear case is in contact with the bottom of the tub. And line up our holes here and reinstall our bolts. We're just gonna make sure they're all snug. All right, so now we can reconnect all of our wire harnesses. Do the motor first over here. And the last thing is gonna be our motor cover. Okay, now we'll reinstall our basket, impeller, and test the unit. All right, so now we got the unit back together. First thing we'll do is open this up and we'll spin our basket now. And you can't even hear that it's spinning, so the new gear case is taking care of our bad bearings and our noise when it spins. So now what we'll do is going to start it up in a cycle because we also have the new capacitor on. And this is where we would just hear the motor humming and wouldn't get any movement here during the sensing portion. And you can see now that it's it is spinning the basket, it is sensing, and it will progress through the cycle and not give us the error code by the lid lock flashing at us. And that will complete your repair.
Thank you for watching another quality video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.